Welcome back to the show. You're just in time for Unfiltered. Today's guest is an award-winning writer, filmmaker, and teacher who creates content and hopes that all kids get to see each other. Please welcome to our show, Mr. Darnell Lamont Walker.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We already had such a great conversation.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good flow. Absolutely.
Welcome to our show, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come out and chat with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we want to just jump right in. So you have a pretty diverse background.
Yeah.
So how did you end up becoming a writer?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Like, I've been writing since I was 7. It started with The Cosby Show. We don't talk too much about The Cosby Show anymore, but it started with The Cosby Show.
Okay.
Great show. And there was an episode where Rudy wrote a fairy tale. And I thought, I want to write a fairy tale. So I wrote this story about a little boy who ran away from home and left it on my bed. Came home from school. My parents found it. They were sitting there crying. And I'm like, are y'all okay? They were like, we thought you ran away. And my first thought was, dang, I must be that good.
Yeah.
And it just kept, and I was like, I got to keep writing. And so it went from there, short stories to poetry, theater, and kept that going. And now I'm in TV and film. And it all started from that episode of The Cosby Show.
That's a Cosby Show. Come on. Gift that keep on giving.
Yeah.
I wrote a runaway note.
Yeah.
My mom said bye.
Where were you going? Where
Roma
you
was
go?
sick of you.
She said bye. Don't forget your stuff. That is so cool. That is so cool. You've done so much great things, so much accomplishments. What is your creative process? Because I always want to get in the head of a writer. Like, they're all so different and unique.
Yeah. For me, it's like I do a lot of writing for kids, but I think for anybody, like I think it's all about holding on to that imagination and just playing. Like when was the last time you played? You know what I mean? Like I always have writers, like I teach writing a lot of times, so I have writers write down, you know, things they did, their favorite things they did as a kid, like climbing trees, you're talking about climbing trees, or rolling down a hill, or cartwheels. And I was like, when was the last time you did it? And they were like, you know, I used to love climbing trees. I was like, when was the last time you did it? Oh, it's been 20 years. Why? Why don't you climb a tree now? And then they go do it and realize something opened up. And if you keep doing that, other things open up, and the creativity, you unblock that creativity.
Oh, wow.
It comes out, and you realize that you're putting more things down on the page. And so it's so not even just for writing, but just art. It's like you're unblocking and unlocking that creativity inside by just playing. And so that's a large part of my creativity, my
Just
process.
having fun.
Just having fun.
And I love having fun. You see, I laugh a lot.
I want you to go climb a tree and
see,
get
I
some
laugh.
mango
I
and
got
coconut.
you. I got
Climb
you.
the trees on
I'm
our lunch
going
break
to teach
today.
you how to scale it properly with your foot bottom. I got you. I got
I'm
you.
here for it. I'm here for it.
So, Darnell, you've worked on a multitude of projects, but one that I want to shine light on is Blues Clues.
Yeah, right on.
What was that experience like, and how long did you write for them?
Absolutely. Blues Clues was my second writing job in the kids' world.
Okay.
My first was Karma's World, which is on Netflix, created by Ludacris, which is dope. If anybody wants to check that out. But Blues Clues, I was there for 2 seasons, season 3 and season 4. I think season 4 is on air right now. But I went in as a script coordinator, getting my feet wet in the job, so kind of bottom of the totem pole, but also writing while I was there. And it was amazing. I mean, it's like a full circle moment. I was too old for Blues Clues when it was first on, but I had nieces, nephews. I got a son who at the time was the perfect audience for Blues Clues. And so it was like, cool, I get to write for this show that really inspired a lot of kids. And so, you know, I had my first episode that dropped a couple months ago. Was because animation takes a long time. Like I wrote the episode a couple years ago. It just dropped a couple months ago.
Okay.
But about being grateful and being thankful. And so I was like, I'd love to write that. And so seeing that on TV is kind of this full circle moment where I get to create for these kids like someone created for me once upon a time.
That is so
nice.
cool.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I want to go back to, so you teach writers as well. What are some of the most common mistakes that you see young writers
a lot of folks, not even just young writers, but people are perfectionists. So as you go, you edit. Like, don't do that. The important thing is just get a draft out. You know, just don't worry about the spelling. Don't worry about any of that. The other thing is affirming yourself as a writer. A lot of people don't do that because it's so easy. We hear these things in our head that says, you know, maybe no one wants to hear my story. I'm not a great speller. I don't, you know, is my story worth telling? Stop listening to those voices and just, so before you write, you know, have a list of 10 things that says, I am a good writer. Like things that you need to combat those voices. So whatever those voices are telling you, write something against those and just read it to yourself right before you go into a project. A lot of people don't do that. And it really helps you, like, because it's so easy to believe those ugly voices.
Yeah.
But when you say, I am a good writer, it's, you know, it's like, that sounds funny. But you keep reading it, you believe it, and then you can keep getting it out. Again, unblocking and unlocking that.
Yeah. So if it's in your head, don't worry about the format.
Don't
'Cause
worry
I had
about it.
something in my head, so you just go ahead and you just
Write it, because you can't edit the blank page, right? So
Yeah.
until
that's
you
a good point.
so
Yeah.
until you got to get
good.
it out, you got to get that first draft out. Nobody's first draft is good. Like everybody's first draft is trash. So
Wow.
believe that, and then you're
Right.
like, oh, that's cool. But as long as I get that first draft out, I can edit it and perfect it that way. But until you get that first draft out, you have nothing there to even edit.
it's just in your head.
It's just in your head, and then it's going to be there for years. I got stories that's been in there for years. I mean, even I teach them, but I'm still falling into the trap every once in a while and doing these things to get out. But you got to
That's
get it out.
good.
Yo, that
That's
quote is going to
good.
stick. Can't edit a blank page. I like
Yeah,
that
you
one.
can't,
yeah.
Okay, so I want to switch gears up because I was reading your bio and I saw something. I was like, what? You're a death doula.
Yeah.
What is that and how did you get into that?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's so basically a death doula is folks who in general save space and hold space for people who are dying, or for people who are left behind by the dying or the dead person.
Okay.
And for me, I got into it, I was about 12, and not even knowing. I think most of us have done it. We've all had a friend or relative that died, and we were there in some way for them, you know,
Right.
just holding their hand or talking to them, having a conversation. And so a lot of that, that's what it is. But for me, I don't think people should die alone. I hate people being alone in the end, or people not getting the death that they want. You know, most people don't want to die in the hospital. And so, like, I try to advocate for folks to get that, to go home and to find someone who loves them or spend time with these people. And I get to be there and say, oh, you know, what music would you like? You know, and get a playlist together for them or help them write letters to their loved ones for when they die. So things like that.
So you're the last face that
That
they
is
see a lot
so
of.
for a lot of people, yeah. For a lot of people.
Does
And
that
you're
go
a
home
good-
with you or do you just?
No, I've always handled death in a different way. Like for me, when I hear about people dying, like even if they're close to me, it's like this beautiful thing that happens. It's like, oh, good for them. You know, like that's
like
my first
that.
thought.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, huh,
Yeah.
good for them.
Good for them, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, the next great adventure. You know, like my grandmother, who was the closest person to me, when
Yeah.
she died, it was like, and we always talked about it growing up. So I knew when she, in the end of her life, I knew that's not where she wanted to be. And so I was like, you know, if you need permission to go, you should go. Like she was in hospice, and I told her, I was like, because some people need permission
They do. I've
to
heard
move on,
yeah.
you know?
Wow.
And so I was like, if you need permission to go, everyone's been here, you should go. And I left, and she died a couple minutes later.
Wow.
And because
Yeah.
people
They
need
need
that.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so, you know, being there, so I get to be, for a lot of these people, the person they feel cares in the end, because a lot of people are abandoned or whatever that is. And then there are the people who are left behind by the dead person, and so they need help processing the grief, especially for Black folks. Like,
Oh, yeah.
grief works very different.
Yes, yes.
And so, like, I help Black folks and communities process grief also.
We have so many more questions, but we got to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Darnell Lamont Walker.
I'm laughing because we're having such a good time.
It's so
Darnell
good.
is still here with us. So we have more questions. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
So glad you didn't leave us.
Oh, absolutely not.
we are a dynamic duo.
Oh, it's amazing. It's an amazing time. It's a good life.
It's a beautiful train wreck, I know.
I wish you could
I
record
know.
the break.
I know.
So I have to ask, you're a writer,
Mm-hmm.
and right now the writer's strike is on. Does that affect you? And if it does, how?
Professionally, it doesn't.
Right.
I'm not in the Writers Guild.
Okay.
But many of my friends are, and so I am impacted in that way.
Right.
Where, like, just being an empathetic person. My friend, like, fair is fair. I think they should absolutely
Yeah.
get what they're asking for,
Absolutely.
plus some. I'm a kids writer, and so we work in a different field. But a lot of the folks that I'm working with are also working in the adult space. And so,
Okay.
like, projects they're working with have gotten, have been held.
Right.
So they're stressed because of that, and then that comes in. So so we are all impacted in some
Right.
way.
Okay.
But I definitely I fight with my friends, with
That's
the
good.
people I know in LA who are writing and or want to write and get into these writing rooms. But fair is fair, and I think they should absolutely get.
I agree.
So, as a writer, if you could have anybody to do a voiceover to narrate one of your projects, who would it be and why?
Yeah, I love, like, Holly Robinson Pete.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember Holly Robinson.
Like, she's great. Like, she, you know,
Yeah.
she's such a huge personality on social media. She's always been in TV.
Yeah.
She's great. I'm working on a project now about a little boy who wants to play the piano. I think she would be the perfect person to play the mother, to do the mother's voice.
Oh, I got you.
Like, it's an animated short film.
Okay.
And she does a lot. She advocates a lot for kids with special needs.
she
Okay.
does.
And that's what my story's about. And I would really love to bring her in for it. I don't know her personally. I
Yeah.
follow her on Instagram, so I'm gonna reach out.
Shoot your shot, bro.
Hopefully she
Shoot your
sees this.
shot. Holly,
Do his project.
let's go.
Black excellence.
make it
Let's
happen.
go.
Yes.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
So your documentary, I know that documentary wasn't your final destination, but you just kind of fell into
Yeah, it was an accident.
But it's amazing. Some accidents are just
Yeah.
amazing. So outside the house, it focuses on mental health and helping those with mental health. What did you take from that project? Do you have a better awareness of how it affects the Black community?
Yeah, for me, it was more so about showing people that they weren't alone.
Right.
Because a lot of times, like for Black folks here in the States, there hasn't been a time we haven't been at least without stress. You know, like we've been at least stressed and at least living with some level of anxiety around whatever it is, PTSD, all these things. And so I wanted to show folks they weren't alone in that. And so I walked away helping those folks realize that. And it was great, you know, and you know, it led to other documentaries since then. It's led to people writing me saying, you know, this saved my life.
Wow.
I never thought I would go, I never thought anyone else was in my position. You know, you realize like, oh, I'm seeing a therapist. I've never seen a therapist, but I see someone else is for the exact same issue. And they're doing better. Maybe I can do that too. So walking away with that just felt really good because I put it up, I made it, put it up, and I was only going to leave it up for 12 hours and then take it down and submit it to some festivals. And I woke up and I had like at least 100 comments and 100 emails and messages that was like, please don't take this down. This literally just saved my family's life.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, and so I couldn't take it down, and it just stayed up. Since then, like everything I've ever made that I make personally is always free.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need people to have access to this stuff. And it's been great. Like since then, I've gone into colleges and universities and actually taught in schools of psychology. I'm not a psychologist. I got my degrees in something completely different.
Yeah.
But they're like, you know how to gain the trust of people, and you know what the Black community is saying about mental health. Could you come and talk to our white students?
That's
Wow.
Because we've never thought about that. We've never thought about how it's different in the Black community. And it was like, but y'all have been in this field for ages. What do you mean you never thought about it? And you realize, oh, this is why we aren't going to get help, because no one knows how to, we're different.
Yeah.
And no one knows how to talk to us.
Yeah.
Or gain our trust.
That is so powerful. Wow. It was so great having you.
Yes.
Great
energy,
Please bring
brother.
me back.
Great
This was
energy.
fun.
We have to
Bring
bring
me
you back. We have to swim. We got to climb trees.
I climb trees. I hope y'all play. I do hope y'all get out there, like do that. If you do anything, find out what you haven't done in a while and just go play.
Let's go climb a tree after this.
Don't threaten me with a good time. I'll do it.
We'll definitely have you back,
Thank you
Darnell.
so
Thank
much.
you
Pleasure
so
having
much
you.
for
Absolutely.
being here.
Thank
But
you.
guys, that's it. Our show is done for today. But don't go anywhere. You can find us
Same time, same place. See you guys tomorrow.
tomorrow, guys. Gone for the holidays, so I didn't have his little help around the house, so he came back last night.
I'm sure he was excited to get back home.
He was.
Yeah.
And so was the dog.
Oh, Tyson was gone.
Tyson has a whole jail cell. So my husband found this new cage.
Okay.
And it literally looks like a jail cell. I have to take a picture. And
You
bring it
need to take
tomorrow.
a picture.
It's so sad.